guys? Honest review today of like a flow hive. So if you don't know what a flow hive is, think of it as a Langstroth hive with basically a built-in extraction tool. Insert a key, turn it, and then it breaks the frames open. Honey's supposed to flow out in theory. That's the idea. So the innovation of it is really it allows that honey to then drip out whatever you want to harvest, at least in theory. You still have all the maintenance, and I'll talk about some of that later on, that comes with regular beekeeping. I want you to understand that I gave this a full year, almost exactly. Sorry, my hand's a little dirty. As you can see, I got a couple dead mites on my hands. I'll talk about that in a second. Gave us a full year to see how it would work out, and I wanted to see what everything try. So I tried putting wax into the frames. I tried doing everything I could to attract and make it more appealing to the bees. I haven't had any issue with other Langstroth hives. My bees are very active. I'm able to harvest honey, but unfortunately, Flow Hive has a few issues. Number one, price. The price of it, you're looking at about $750 to start off with a Flow Hive. So what is that in relation to, say, just set up the regular hive? That's about 4 times the price. So for maybe even more, about $150, I can set you up with a regular super, regular Langstroth hive with a 10 frame. This is only 7 in a deep box, but of course they're much wider, much wider than these frames are. So you can't fit obviously 10 of them in there. Only it's 7 in those. So that's one disadvantage. Bees, you'll hear the argument of plastic. I want to talk about how they say, bees aren't attracted to plastic. They hate plastic. It is a little unfamiliar, especially if you're thinking how plastic off gases and disrupt hormones in bees. True. However, the argument that they will use, the creators of the Flow Hive, is that they use a BPA non-off-gassing plastic. The wax cells are made out of, say, 300 different chemical components in your regular beeswax, if you think about it. And what that does in a regular beehive is it creates like a highway where bees can communicate. They leave these little chemical signals for other bees to come through and say, hey, this is good. This is the plant we got it from. This is where you go. Kind of like a direction. They'll also have chemical signals they leave when they fly in and out of the hive. So if you've seen some of our other videos on bees, you can see them flying in and out, and kind of they establish a pattern. The arguments, of course, they make about that lack of BPA plastic. Interesting. Excuse me. But I can say that personally, my bees, all the bees I tried, I just didn't take to it. I added wax inside of these cells. I tried everything to try to make the bees more appealing to it. I would have thousands and thousands and thousands of bees in there. If you took the top off this, you would have thousands of bees come up. They were very protective of it. But what I did end up with was another unfortunate thing. I don't know if you can see them here. There are hive beetles. I've now taken this out of the freezer, and now the hive beetles are all dropping out, all dead. So it's been sitting in a freezer now for 3 days, and all the hive beetles. Versus in my standard hives, they're able to fight off. Maybe you find 1, 2 hive beetles in there or something. But the hive beetles are able to hang out in these deeper frames and hide better in the wood than they are in a regular beehive. But really, in those empty cells, it's just like a constant battlefield for the bees to try to fight back against those. Also, I want you to understand the weight. This full will end up being about 20 pounds heavier than a regular beehive frame. So you got cost, attraction for hive beetles, great place for them to hang out. Potentially have, could be larvae under the ground too. But also weight. So weight, cost, great place for hive beetles. I think the advantages, though, is that about the Flow Hive is that it made it more appealing. It probably brought more people into the hobby that maybe necessarily wouldn't have been interested. I think the commercial was great, so I wanted to try it out too. So yeah, I'm a victim of commercialization. I think they did a great job. I guess it was an engineer and his son that got together and made this thing, and apparently they made millions on this. I'm not surprised. I think their marketing was phenomenal. I think that it appeals to people that think, okay, I can just set it and forget it, it's done. It's not true. You still have to do all the regular maintenance you have to do for beehives. You still have a ton of work you have to do. You have to do your monthly inspections. You have to take it up. You have to look for things. As far as harvesting, I was able to get like a very small amount of honey. Wasn't really worth it. It also leaked, and the argument is that, well, I should have tightened the wires on these. Just wasn't for me. So overall, I would not recommend the Flow Hive for someone that thinks that you can just set it and forget it. If you're looking for a fun experiment, I guess that maybe they've had more success with them in Australia. And a lot of people are having similar results to me here in the southeast of the U.S. But maybe someone will make it, a couple of twerks, and that's the beauty of this. I encourage all that creativity because, again, it's that twist on something that that's how you make something successful. So I'm glad I got a chance to try it, but overall, I would not recommend the Flow Hive for anyone, especially if you're just starting out in beekeeping.